Some betrayals aren't born in one night. They grow in the shadows of small choices, until one day, they destroy everything. Tonight's confession isn't about infidelity, but it is about a love that died in the cruelest way possible. Not from a fight, but from years of slow, public humiliation. This is the story of Hannah, and the night her husband's silence became louder than any scream. Welcome to Breakup, Cheater, where ordinary lives take dark, unexpected turns. Here we dive into confessions, betrayals, and chilling true-to-life tales that will leave you questioning the people you think you know. Every story has two sides, but only one ending. Let's begin. I'm sharing this under complete anonymity because what I'm about to admit is humiliating, painful, and entirely my fault. I never imagined I'd be in this position, stripped of my pride, haunted by regret, and staring at the ruins I built with my own hands. My name is Hannah. I'm 24 years old. The man I may have lost forever is Ethan, 26. We were married for 3 years, but our love story began back in college. At the time, I truly believed what we had was solid. Not perfect, but grounded in real love and respect. Ethan was my anchor. Quiet, steady, and endlessly patient. I used to feel safe with him in a way I'd never experienced before. Now I realize how little I valued that kind of love, and how carelessly I threw it away. We were opposites in almost every way. Ethan loved peace and stillness, a stack of books, a slow-paced documentary, and a calm evening at home. I was the spark in the room, the one laughing too loud, dragging him into crowded spaces and noisy gatherings. And yet, he never once asked me to dim that energy. He came with me to every loud party, every social event, even though I could see how much it wore him down. He did it all because it made me happy. Ethan never made demands. He never made me feel guilty that I wasn't working, that he carried all the financial and household responsibilities. We didn't have children, but he still managed our entire life together without complaint, paying bills, cooking dinner, fixing things around the house. He'd even bring me coffee in bed most mornings. Looking back now, I see how much quiet strength that took. But instead of cherishing that, I began to see him differently. Not as a strong, selfless man, but as someone I could walk over. That poison didn't come from nowhere. It started creeping in when I reconnected with a few old college friends, people who thrived on drama, who were constantly chasing chaos and attention. They fed me a narrative I was too immature to question. You're young, Hannah. Why waste your best years with someone so boring? He's too quiet for you. Too safe. Too mild. And the worst part, I believed them. I let their shallow opinions drown out Ethan's loyalty. It started with small things, a teasing remark here, a sarcastic comment there. One night, after a few too many drinks, I made a cruel joke in front of those friends. I called Ethan obedient, and said he'd probably jump off a cliff if I asked him to. Everyone laughed. So did I. I basked in their attention, mistaking it for validation. But it didn't stop there. Over the next few months, mocking him became part of my social routine. I let people call him whipped and joined in on the laughter. I wore it like a badge of honor. Ethan never snapped back. Even when he overheard it, he didn't raise his voice or throw my words back at me. He just stayed, loving me, quietly enduring the disrespect. I told myself he'd never leave, that his patience was unshakable. I was wrong. The breaking point came during a neighborhood barbecue. Ethan, as always, was at the grill, sweating in the heat, making sure everyone had a plate of food. I was a few yards away with my friends, drink in hand, when someone made yet another joke about how trained he was. And like I'd done so many times before, I played along. This time I called him spineless. There was laughter at first. And then there wasn't. The air shifted. Conversations nearby went quiet. That's when I turned and saw him. Ethan stood behind me, holding a plate. His face wasn't angry. It wasn't even sad. It was unreadable, cold, detached, and calm in a way that made my stomach twist. "We need to talk," he said. His voice was quiet, controlled. I followed him inside, still half smiling, thinking maybe I'd embarrassed him and we'd laugh about it later. But once the door closed, his words cut through me like a blade. "I'm done letting you tear me down," he said. "I gave you everything, Hannah. And all you did was make me small in front of others. I'm leaving. Your things will be on the porch." Froze. My brain couldn't process it. I begged him to stop, to talk it through. I cried, I apologized, I promised to change. But he didn't yell, didn't break. He just looked at me with that same steady calm, the kind that told me this wasn't a heat-of-the-moment decision. "No more," he said. "You don't get to humiliate me and expect me to keep showing up." When I told him I wasn't leaving, he met my eyes and said flatly that if I stayed, he would call the police. That's when it finally sank in. He meant every word. So I left that night with a suitcase in my hand and tears streaming down my face. I had to walk past the very neighbors who once laughed at my jokes. None of them looked at me, not even my so-called friends. I see now they were never really my friends. It's been days since I've heard from Ethan. I'm staying at my parents' house, replaying everything over and over in my head. I've sent him messages. No reply. Maybe there never will be. Maybe I don't even deserve one. What I do know is this: I destroyed something rare. I had a man who gave me unconditional love, and I broke him down for the sake of cheap laughs and fleeting attention. I turned loyalty into a punchline. And now that he's gone, I'm left with the deafening silence of my own choices. I don't know if I'm a terrible person, but I do know I can't lie to myself anymore. I did this, and I'll have to live with it. He didn't slam the door. He didn't beg her to change. He just walked away, and for the first time she understood that love has limits. Even the quiet kind. Now she's left replaying every moment she thought was harmless, realizing each one was a brick in the wall that finally shut her out. Some endings don't come with fireworks. They end in silence. And the knowledge that you can never go back. You've been listening to Breakup Cheater, where secrets surface, truths unravel, and silence speaks louder than words. Subscribe for more stories you'll feel long after they end. And remember, the most dangerous monsters aren't always strangers.